Hello, all you tiny people that live in the confines of my computer. I'm Finn, and welcome back to SGAYM, a show that I started last year during Pride Month, which stands for It's Gay Month. It's from an old meme, don't worry about it. Welcome back to Folly. Haven't recorded in the chair in a minute. But today I'm just going to be explaining what SGAYM is, talking about why it's a thing that I do, talking about what we did last year, talking about what's happening this year, and ask you guys your opinions on some stuff and whatnot. This will be a thing that's just kind of sporadic throughout the month. Not every single video I make this month will be about this. For example, trying to think, there's a Dragon Ball video coming out later. There's a FNAF video coming out later. 2 of them, I think. But this isn't going to be taking up the whole thing. This video will count as one of the main 2 of the week. However, it's not I don't know how to explain it. This video is coming out on a Friday, I believe. But that will not be getting in the way of anything else. So, whatever. To start, hello, I'm Finn. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm a filthy trainee. Currently, I am in a relationship with a man, which is, I think, the second time that's happened. It's new to me. Typically, I'm in relationships with women. I typically refer to myself as a trans lesbian. This is very new to me. So there's that. Tattoo. When it comes to my basic queer information, there's that. I've said a lot already. I will try to limit my ums. My roommate is a asexual lesbian. My best friend is a cisgendered gay man. My partner is a trans man. A lot of queer. So I feel like I have the ability to talk about Gay Month a little bit. To get it really started, I'm going to talk about my experience in coming out, talk about how long it took me, who I told first, that sort of thing. Get into all that, which is a bit of a long story, so we will see how long this video ends up being. To begin, I grew up in rural Arkansas, specifically in the Sheridan area, Sheridan, where pretty much everybody is not cults, but cults, you know what I mean? Really hardcore religious. An example, I have an uncle with a swastika on his eye, just tattooed on his eyelid. If that gives you or is he my cousin? He might be my cousin. Whatever. So I grew up in that area. So the idea of gay people wasn't exactly something that I was shown at a young age as being that's an okay thing. I'm trying not to dive all emotional in this specific video. I'm just trying to explain things. But growing up in that area and with that version of all things different are bad, sorta, kinda affected my ability to understand who I was. And for a long time, I kinda held back on what I thought, held back on who I was, who I needed to be, stuff like that. I started really feeling different whenever I was like 12. Growing up, my sisters sort of always shared stuff with me. They were all younger than me, but typically, like, I wasn't around my parents as much as my siblings were. Like, my sister always had her dad, and then my other sister always had her mom, and I kind of was, like, juggling not having either for a majority of my upbringing, so a lot of the time that I spent with them, it was, like, it was the media that they enjoyed, it was the toys that they had, it was the clothes that they had, and oftentimes that would kind of sway me to be interested in more girly things. It didn't make me trans, because that's not how trans people work, but it definitely allowed me to learn and to experiment and to figure out who I am and what I want to do. Typically, that stuff was either under the radar and not talked about by others, or I was in trouble for doing it, or whatever. For example, my sister, hello, you pop in here every once in a while, you might be watching this, I love you. I was at her place, and I was putting on clothes, mostly to, like, bully her friends, and, like, do jokes and characters, and I would, like, dress up weird and do voices, or I would dress up weird and say, like, really just, like, out of nowhere, just, like, completely incomprehensible, like, mumbo-jumbo garbage. And it's like, doing that was kind of like an excuse to wear that stuff, but it worked, and people thought it was funny. But then my family would see that she took, like, pictures of me in those outfits and stuff, and then that would lead to me getting in trouble, her getting in trouble, periods where we weren't allowed to hang out and shit like that, or whatever. And that was, like, weird, that simply wearing a certain shirt or whatever could make people that upset. And that's kind of, like, how that went for a majority of my, like, younger years. But I started figuring out stuff was weird when I was, like, 12, maybe 13. I remember one time I came home to my grandmother's house, and I had I made, like, a gay joke or something. And then my dad, like, freaked out and, like, heavily questioned me. And I was like, well, I'm not gay. But if somebody is, I don't care. Because that's, like, what I had seen, like, on TV and shit. It typically, that was the sort of stuff that was said about gay people. It's like, oh, I don't care if you do that. Just, you know, whatever. I don't like it, but if you do, cool. And I, like, said that to him, and then he ranted to me about how all gay people will, like, burn in hell forever, ranted about transvestites, used the term faggot a fair amount of times. Even the last time I saw him in person, he used the term faggot, and that was, like, 8 months ago, maybe. Actually, no. It would have been 8 months at this point. 8 months ago would be October, I think. So, at this point, that would have been, like... That might have been a year ago now. But, like, you know, stuff like that kind of made me feel weird and uncomfortable. And then all of my friends were, like, either gay or cool with gay people throughout high school and middle school. In middle school, I became friends with a girl who we will call Evelyn. That's not her name, but that's what we'll call her. And she was the first, like, actual queer that I met. Very cool person. I don't have a way to talk to her currently, but she was a cool human. And we were quite friendly. Like, we were, like, siblings levels of friendly. And that was really nice. Fuck, what was it? What was I gonna say? Oh, and, like, around that time is when I started to, like, be, like, lost a little. And then, shortly after that, a friend of mine who I can only think of, like, I can say their current name, Juniper. At that time was not out or whatever, but, like, joked with me, and I joked back about gay stuff a lot. And, like, at one point in middle school, I believe we kissed. 99. I think I was their first kiss, which is very funny to me. I think that's true. I think I was the very first kiss that they experienced, which is kind of wild. As it was a joke on the playground. I say playground, it was behind the cafeteria. But there's that. So, like, joking with somebody who, at this point, we're both straight white guys, kinda did something to, like, make me, it, like, felt nice to joke about it, which was pretty nice. And then, turns out, all of us were just gay as shit. Best friend, Amadon, gay. That person, trans and gay. My first girlfriend, asexual, gay, gender fluid. The one we'll call Evelyn, gay as fuck. Girl boss, pussy, slay. Like, just all of us gay as shit. Just gay as hell, and gay as hell, and gay as hell, and gay as hell. And then high school rolls around, and my high school was a weird mix, because there was extremely homophobic, transphobic, racist, sexist assholes who, like, probably would have actually killed me. And then also some of the most kind, emotionally open, and caring individuals that I've probably ever been around in my life. Shout out to Jay, who was the first trans person I met, who kind of helped me figure myself out and helped me get where I needed to be, alongside just being a good friend. Jay, you're probably not watching this, but if you are, you're awesome and I love you. But Jay was just a super fucking cool person, like, on every fucking sense. And seeing not only somebody who was queer, but, like, openly queer, and, like, every motherfucker in the school called Jay Jay. Jay was not their dead name. Jay was not, like it was Jay to everybody. That was awesome. I don't want to label Jay too much, but, like, fucking, like, punk. You know what I mean? Wolf cut, punky fucking kid. Crazy makeup. But seeing somebody who was, like, open like that made me feel so much more comfortable talking about it, especially being able to be close and talk about it with him. We were never best friends or anything, but, like, we were two of the, like, 4 trans kids. The other 2 I would talk with and also be friends with, but we'll get there. But at this point, well, freshman year of high school, I'm aware that I'm different. I have, like, I get, like, uncomfortable hearing my name, being referred to as, like, sir, mister, stuff like that. Having people who I've never seen before, who know my dad, like, telling me that I look like him, made me super uncomfortable. Stuff like that. That lens flare's pissing me off. Oh, but that also pisses me off. Guess we're dealing with a lens flare, unless I can get it to go away. It's away now. Get it away, get it away, get it away. Okay. But at this point I know something's up, but I don't know what. And then I don't really do I do freshman year. I don't do sophomore year. I just straight don't go to school. Junior year was pretty okay gay-wise. I was in 2 relationships, both of which with a trans man. So, okay, no, that makes 3 trans guys I've been with now. Okay, cool. But 2, and they both really helped me figure stuff out. Helped me understand what I was feeling, and allowed me, like, a mirror and, like, a way of talking to somebody who had, like, similar experiences and stuff. And that was really helpful for me. Or whatever. I look like the Rake. I haven't looked at my body. I look like the Rake. I do not look human. I look like I'm gonna peel someone's fucking skin off. Anyways, I'm in those relationships. Blah 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 blah. Oh no, I'm yawning. Oh my god. That's the lack of sleep catching up to me. Whew. But you know, whatever. Going into senior year is when I start to really figure everything out. To pretty much everyone that knows me, other than my family, it's like they are at this point, like they know what I am. Told Amidon, best friend, that went so easy. Like, just, hey, I have these feelings, immediate validation. So thank you for that, you tall fuck. And that's kind of like the school portion of it. And that's kind of it. And then the rest of my, like, coming out stuff doesn't happen until earlier this year, which is wild. So from there to now, kind of like nothing happens. And then earlier this year, I made an insane decision, but one that I stand by and am very happy about, to move multiple states over, away from the life I'd known, the places I've known, and the people I'd known. Most notably, breaking off 99.9% of contact with my family. There are 2 or 3 people in my family who I have kept contact with, because not all of them did bad things to me. There are plenty of them that did horrible, despicable, fucking evil things to me, but not all of them. I don't hate all of them. If you're watching this, there's a high chance I don't hate you. Like, for example, none of my siblings did anything wrong. None of my cousins did anything wrong. My mom, like, she fucked up. And I could, like, she, like, admittedly has gone out of her way to take blame for a lot of the things done to me. But, like, I have forgiven her for the things she did while she was fucking, like, on drugs and stuff. However, people such as my father, my grandfather, the uncle who did despicable things to me, the cousin with the swastika tattoo, fuck you, stuff like that. Those people can fuck off and I will never speak to you again. However, there's a lot of you who still have my love and still have my respect. But I cut off contact with so many people and moved a far amount of way away from them. Like, me moving and cutting contact is kind of how most of them figured out this stuff. And most of it had been okay. For example, I will not say her name, but one of my aunts, she commented on a video, and she basically stated that she loved me as her, like, she started it with nephew, and then later she was like, or my niece, or whatever, and I appreciate that. So if you're watching this, you know who you are, I love you, and thank you so much. But then there are other people who commented stuff about me lying about things that I didn't lie about. And there's people out there, like friends of mine and stuff, with receipts of stuff that did or did not happen. Stuff like that. Or people outright ranting about how I think I'm a woman, which is just not what this is. And that's a crazy way to try to get me to respond to you, by the way. Stuff like that. Or whatever. But I cut contact with them, and that was kind of the way I came out. Mostly for my safety, because, there are some people there who I trust and who I don't think would do anything to me, such as my mother. I feel like my aunts and uncles, other than the one, wouldn't really do much. But that uncle already did terrible things to me. I don't feel like sticking around to see what else happens. My dad is a despicable human being who I don't think has a singular redeemable quality, and has done terrible, despicable things to countless people. What about your restraining orders, sir? Stuff and things. And I was, scared for that, because people in my family have, not allowed him around other members of my family for their thoughts and who they are and stuff. There's a period where a person who I will not name was going through stuff and experimenting, and for a minute they thought they were queer, whatever, and my stepmother told them, hey, don't fucking tell that man. It won't go good, out of fear for a child. Great stuff there. And I had seen him put his hands on his mother, his hands on his romantic partner, his hands on his little brother, on his fucking cousin. Seen him put his hands on somebody who was 16, and I've seen him put his hands on his niece in a way that was not like a spanking or whatever. It was putting his hands on her. And for that, I felt scared, so I didn't want to talk to him about it in person. And anybody who's upset with that decision can suck 3 dicks. I don't care. So that my coming out story was bits and pieces of telling people I trust, and then hey, I'm going away before I let you motherfuckers figure this out. I will die. Stuff like that. Whatever. Ooh. And I'm still figuring stuff out now, because up until I met my current partner, I thought I didn't like dudes. Now I like a dude. So that's been confusing. I'm still figuring out my opinions on some stuff. I'm still not sure where I sit on the A, on the sexuality scale, but B, on the sex scale. Because sometimes it's oh yeah, that sounds neat, and other times it's ugh, I don't want to do that. So and that's kind of where the coming out stuff ends. I want to state that if you feel confused, you are not alone in that. If you feel like something is missing, you are not alone. If you are lost in trying to figure out who you are, or who you care about the most, or who you love, or who you want to be, that is entirely valid. If you are a man, if you are a woman, if you are something in between, if you are something far beyond either end of the scale, that's fine. You are welcome here, you are valid everywhere, and you are loved. If you like people of the same sex, of the opposite sex, of both, of neither, or anything else, you are valid. As long as you're not one of those people who uses being gay as an excuse to do terrible things, which does happen. And I feel like every queer person knows that not every queer person is a good person, and then people who aren't queer use those outliers as like a big gotcha moment, which doesn't work because right back at you, or whatever. But you know, there's that. I just kind of want to state that it's gay month, and I think, well, hot take, I don't like that there's a specific month for that. I think it, in some ways it's helpful, right? Because getting awareness out and whatnot is super important. So in some ways it's really helpful. But in other ways it feels like kinda, I don't know the right term. Because it feels like a lot like Black History Month, right? Stuff will get brought up and awareness will be spread and companies will give outpour of support and whatnot for 1 month. And then the moment the month's over, the rainbow logos are gone. The black logos are gone. All of the outpour and the support and the care and the like positivity is just disappears. It's gone forever. And it's like 11 months out of the year they don't care. And then for 1 month they give a shit. And it's really gross because it shows that they don't actually give a shit. Stuff like that. And I am aware that there is a large community of queer people who are not cool with that sort of thing. And you are valid in that. However, I'm also aware that 99% of the people who don't like Pride Month are just homophobic. However, the 1% of people who have like fair reasoning behind it, you're valid. And I mostly agree with that. I think there still needs to be like the awareness brought up, and I think there still needs to be the charities and stuff at work. But the fact that it all becomes a big thing for 29 days or 30 days or whatever, and then it's just gone for the rest of the year. The other 330 days, it's not important. And I think that's kind of like fucked. But there's, oh Lord, yawning. The sleep deprivation, it's catching up with me. Oh no, there's trash back there. Cover that. I don't have too much else to say for this starting episode of SGAYM. There will be 1 or 2 more this month. I don't know. I don't want to change the channel, and I don't want to change what I'm making. These are just coming out alongside other stuff. So I might make 2. I might make 3. I might not make another one. Who knows? But you know, this is happening almost entirely because it's something that I care about and something I'm passionate about. This feels really gross. I told myself I was going to start advertising my stuff in videos, and it feels almost disgusting doing that in a video about this. However, if I don't start advertising it, I will not make it a habit. And I need to start doing it at every video. So, boy, if you are interested in having conversations with me, my friends, like-minded individuals, or people of the channel, go down to the description and go to the Discord. Hop in, have fun, talk to us. There's a politics channel, there's a channel for animals, channel for memes, general conversations, all sorts of stuff. So feel free to come over there, hang out with us, and meet some new people. If you are feeling generous and charitable towards yours truly, you can go to the description, go to the Patreon, and get every video I ever make ad-free. Get every video I make a day or so early, depending, and never have to worry about, like, a billion ads. Never having to worry about, like, weird lag. You can just have the videos. Shout out to the one person that's already on the Patreon. I appreciate you. so very much. It means the world to me. Thank you. Speaking of things that mean the world to me, thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you so much for the ability that you give me every day. Thank you for showing me love and affection, and for genuinely giving me criticisms that are valid when I am making things. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for liking the videos, for watching them. Thank you so much for getting us so very close to 800 subs, and we're still on that road to 1,000. So let's get there, baby. Thank you guys so much. Happy Pride Month. And happy Men's Mental Awareness Month. Shout out to men. That's not a joke. Genuinely, genuinely. Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is this serious. Take care of yourselves, hug your friends, make sure to tell people you love them, and drink some water. Still Pride Month. Both are true. And Dinosaur Month. All three are accurate. I love you guys. Bye-bye.